Hope everybody's having themselves a wonderful day today. My name is Michael Joseph, in case you don't know, and I have been an artist my whole life in a whole bunch of different ways, different mediums, different everything. And today I'm going to talk about 3 things that I think are important to keeping creative over the long term, because it's easy to get burned out about things. It's easy to get overwhelmed with things. And I'm going to talk about 3 things that I think that any person on any part of their journey can use to help them stay creative and keep that fire underneath burning. And I'm just kind of going to go through with them. I'm going to give some examples. And again, as always, at the end of this today, if you want to put something down in the comments, ideas that you have and ways that you help, maybe I'll mention it in a future video. Who knows? All right. So one of the number one things I think to staying creative is being creative. And I know that kind of sounds like I'm being redundant and repeating myself and saying the same thing over and over, but continuous creativity is something that you have to do to keep your creativeness strong. So if you are trying new types of creativity, when I talk about being continuously creative, trying new types of creativity, new mediums, new ideas, watching videos from people who do creative stuff that is nothing like you normally do, that is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Staying up on all of these things so that you can always have little bits of things just ready to grab and be creative with. I am someone who you will see me being creative from drawing to photography to AI, which a lot of people say that's not creative, but there's a creativity in building an AI. Like I build my own AI clone and did a bunch of videos with the AI clone. And there is a lot of creativity in just about everything you do in life. If you are a person that likes to cook, there's a lot of creativity in cooking, in how you add the ingredients or change the ingredients. All of those things are really big when it comes to creativity. And that's why I say always try new things, try new mediums. Say, hey, I've always wanted to do watercolors. I've always wanted to try sculpting, or I want to do whittling. Whatever, give it a try. So continuous creativity, I think one of the biggest things with that is trying new things. And here's something that I want to add to that trying new things. When you pick one of those things that you want to try, set a plan for the future. Set a plan that I'm going to work on this project, or I'm going to work on this long term. So I have a project I'm working on right now. For me, it's a very big project. It's taking up a lot of time, and it is a book that I'm putting out later this year. It'll be my second book, and books take a long time. And that's one of the things in amongst all the other stuff I'm doing, like doing these videos, getting out, taking photography, doing my DJing on the weekends, all these different things. I'm still working long term on that book because that's something I want to do. So there's always that creativity in there. And I can't tell you how many times me being out having a conversation with someone else who does creativity on some level, whether they be an artist or photographer or whatever, how that has inspired things that are going into the book. Like, oh, wow, I never thought of looking at it that way. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm doing with this. So have a future plan on your creativity. Have projects that you aren't going to touch for months. Have plans for those, because that months will come by really fast, and then you'll be to where you are, and then you can jump into those. And if you do all these things at the beginning to continuously be creative, when it comes time for that, you are going to have the creative fuel to keep going. So now we move on to the second one. And this is probably one of the hardest ones. It was very difficult for me. It still is very difficult for me, but I'm getting better at it, is being open to imperfections. Have the openness to look at your imperfections as not a mistake, but more as part of the process. Now, I've looked at this in my life, and I've talked about it before, about things that you do or say in life where you wish you wouldn't have done or said them, and how you have to be forgiving of yourself to the point where that you don't look at that, what you did or said, as a mistake. You make corrections for that mistake, but you look at it, instead of beating yourself up, you do what you have to do, but you look at it as part of the process of learning and growing. And it's the same way with creativity. You have to be willing to fail at things all the time. Try them and go, that was bad. And try again, and that was bad. And you will get better at it. But being adaptable to those things as you are growing, that is one of the things that if you make a mistake and you're rigid and just quit, or it doesn't happen as fast, this is one of the things, if it doesn't happen as fast as you think it should, those kind of things can really knock you off of your step and trip you up. And being adaptable to these changes and being adaptable to starting over again and being adaptable to trying again long term is going to help you. That openness to imperfection. I heard a quote recently that I absolutely love. It says, when your plan fails, change your plan, but never your goal. I'm going to say that again. When your plan fails, change your plan, but never your goal. And that is, I think, one of the biggest things when it comes to this openness of imperfection or openness to being imperfect is that you have a goal you want to get to, and you may try 20, 30 different ways to get there. And if each one fails, you still have the goal of that final thing. Like, I want to be creative. And in my life in the past, I started out doing artwork early in life as a teenager. Every kind of artwork you can imagine, including photography when I was a teenager, all these things. I moved on to a point in life where I was a dancer and did dancing and then did vocal performing and put out several albums and then did DJing and did all these other things that I've done on a highly professional level. But I still am not done, and I'm not even close to being done. I put out my first book in 2020. I have another one coming out this year. All of these things are stuff that I'm going to continue working on. I know that I am, give or take, 4 years from when I can start collecting Social Security, and I have no plans on stopping working. When most people, when they think about retirement, I have no plans of stopping like that, and that's one of the things. This openness to imperfection will keep you going in ways that you maybe didn't think of before. So that's the second one. And the third one I think is important, and it's again another one that I have to push myself to do, is expose yourself to external inspiration. And that can be anything. That can be going and watching someone paint. That could be going and watching someone build something. That could be seeing a vocal performer or a musician. That could be watching a magician. Anything to get out in the world, both out in the world, and I'm going to say this, both out in the world and on video, to inspire you to do new things. Now, recently, there is a photographer that I watch, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. It's Matty. And I'll maybe leave the link in the thing below or something. But Matty, on one of his shorts, is showing how he is using Adobe Firefly to add effects to some of his videos. Not doing AI videos, but doing effects to his videos through AI and different things. And I started doing a little bit of that too and found like, holy cow, there's a whole new way to be creative and add to some of my short videos by adding these things. And I did one on my shorts last week. It's on the YouTube and TikTok and all of that, where I made flame come out of my ears, and I talked about how that was easily done. I did mine with Google Gemini and VO and what is their other thing that does Nano Banana. So it's Nano Banana, VO, and Google Gemini that I build all those with. And it's, to me, they're just things of creativity. And watching him do that short where he made himself just fly up in the air like a rocket, and I'm probably going to try to do a little more effects each week on my shorts. And those are creativity things that I think can inspire you. I went and watched this short from a photographer, and again, he's a filmmaker is a better way to say it. He's a filmmaker more than a photographer. He's worked for a lot of years on really high professional stuff, but that kind of creativity and seeing stuff like that is what does that. Inspiration can come from anywhere. Inspiration can come from an inanimate object. Up the street from me, there is a sign, and I think the sign says something like "Caution Kids" or something like that. And the kids in the neighborhood have put tiny stickers all over that sign around the word "Caution Kids" or whatever. And that has inspired me to where that can be more. It still says what it needs to say, but it can be more. And that's why I think that, external inspiration can come from seeing an artist, but it also can come from seeing nothing, seeing an inanimate object that maybe somebody has done something with, or it's bent over. All of those things, I think, are things that can help you. So those are my three. I want to cover them again, and I want to touch on them real quickly. Continuously be creative any way you can. I don't care if it's something small. There was a time when I was working a day job and finishing up my college. I said that I had three parts to my life. I had work life, I had school life, and I had sleep life. And the only time during that I got to be creative was during lunch break. I would draw on my napkin every day. And it was my creative outlet for that time. So it can be anything, but continuously be creative. Number 2, be openness to imperfections. Look at what you're doing not as a fail succeed, but as in, let's do this. Let's just do this. I always think of when I was a kid playing sports. Half the time, it wasn't even about keeping score. It's about just getting out there and playing. I'm going to be honest with you. It's maybe not a thing that's up with today's youth, but I mean, I couldn't tell how many basketball games I got into where we all had to keep asking each other, what's the score? I don't even know. We're just playing. And the last one is external inspiration. Go out and find some inspiration in anything. Go out with the expectation to find inspiration and see what you can find, because don't go look for a piece of inspiration, but just go out and look around, and that will help you find that inspiration. So those are my 3 for this week. I think I'm going to do this list again in the future because there's a lot about creativity that I think I can add to that, again, with all the things that I've done in life and the things that I've seen. I just want to encourage you that if you are bitten by that creative bug and you want to be a part of that kind of stuff, I want to encourage you to go for it to whatever level that your life allows you right now. It may not allow you to go full term, into this, full time, all that kind of stuff, but, give yourself a chance. If you can, please give the video a like, share it, all that kind of stuff. I have all kinds of social media stuff. I have a print on demand stuff that you go to my website, immj.com. There's print on demand stuff there. I have all kinds of stuff. I have a book out. And all of these things. Give me a follow on social media and check out some of the stuff I have going on. But again, if there's any that you want to add to this list, please add it in the comments below. I would highly welcome that and really look forward to it. So until next time, as always, take care and God bless. This video is sponsored by immj. For all my print-on-demand creations like t-shirts, mugs, posters, original photos, my book, The Creative Virus, or what gear I use, visit the shops on immj.com or my Amazon, eBay, or Etsy stores.